Hello and welcome to the early Premier League table prediction show. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Dorlan.
If you're brand new to the channel, this is Back of the Net. We're an AFC Bournemouth fan channel. And last night, Tom, just got to put this in quickly, Bournemouth got the W against Saints. Easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's only pre-season, but it's nice to, travel down to a lower league opposition, go there and show them, what Premier League's all about and if they can get back there. But yeah, good performance, good results. So yeah, it's always healthy to get a few wins on the board in pre-season. But most importantly, it was getting the middle out there, wasn't it? And a couple of home ones now, so looking forward to it, mate.
And if you want to see Tom's reaction and you're part of the Back of the Net community, if you're a member, then check out Telegram because the player rating show is on there. And then later on, once we've got all the friendlies done and dusted, I'm sure that myself, Tom and Tix will get together and discuss how our UK-based friendlies went. So look forward to that. But yeah, cracking win for Bournemouth last night. Right, should we get on with the show?
Let's do it.
Right, here we go then. Here's how it works. It's going to be Sam versus Tom. What we're going to be doing is predicting where each team is going to come. We're going to go through in alphabetical order. That means AFC Bournemouth come first, but then we're going to say where each of the positions are going to be. It'd be really interesting to see which teams are going to be winning the league, which teams are going to be winning the league, who's going to get to Europe, who's going to go down. More importantly, where Bournemouth are finishing, and that's where we're starting. Right, I've got my league table. Tom's got his. Let's talk about Bournemouth, mate. We're a team that flew under the radar a little bit last season, you could say. I don't think it was a miracle that we stayed up because we were armed with some good firepower in January. But Bill Foley, the owner, he's backing it up in the summer as well. And we're making some very astute signings, which actually for the first time makes me think, you know what, I don't think we'll get relegated, which is huge.
Dangerous, but I agree. And I think a lot of people will still be predicting us to be in the mix, but there are a few from the outside now looking at our transfer business and hopefully more to come and looking at the way we're developing and the new manager and thinking Bournemouth could surprise a few actually. So are we now, maybe going to be a somewhat surprise package? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but you could predict us to come anywhere from a lot of positions, I think.
You could. Well, look, according to 1,600 Premier League fans surveyed in the Sky Bet Fan Hope Survey, Bournemouth are actually third favourites to go down after newly promoted Luton Town and Sheffield United. Gary O'Neill, he took us to safety, but under a new manager, it seems that fans are not really looking at us as being anything other than relegation fodder. We are underestimated, aren't we, in the football fraternity? We really are.
Yeah, we are big time, mate. And I think I kind of get it because of the size of the football club and etc. But we're up there now with the big boys. We're spending the money like some of the big boys and spending more and seem to be doing more exciting business than the teams that are around us, if you like. So who knows? We could be underestimated again and surprise a few.
Do you think football fans tend to look at the past? The history, AFC Bournemouth, they've mainly been League One and League Two for most of their lives. AFC Bournemouth, they're a team that have got a garden shed for a stadium. AFC Bournemouth, they've been asking for money in buckets back only 20 years ago or whatever. Do you think maybe that those things maybe stick in their heads a little bit and it's almost just a knee-jerk reaction, say, oh yeah, Bournemouth, small club, probably going to go down?
Yeah, a little bit. I do think, because there's obviously a lot of younger fans now that don't even realise really how low we were, but I think they look at the size of the stadium and that stuff does play a part and just think little old Bournemouth and just assume that the bigger... I mean, you only got to look last season, I remember when the teams come up, that Nottingham Forest were the ones everyone said would do the best. They actually done the worst out of the three teams come up. And that was just because of the size of the football club. I mean, Fulham finished miles above them and we finished above them as well. So, yeah, I think that plays a part. And, maybe if I wasn't a Bournemouth fan, I'd be the same. But, yeah, let's hope to surprise them again, mate. Are you going to do your prediction first? Or
yeah, I'm going to do my prediction and...
Well, I think you'll put them higher or lower than I will. I'm not sure.
Wait, say play your cards right.
Yeah, go on.
Bournemouth are finishing 13th this season.
Do you think I've gone higher or lower? I've gone one place different.
Lower.
12th. Yes, I've put us in 12th, which is obviously optimistic, and I'll definitely take it. But yeah, I've put us, after looking at the league and going through, I thought, yeah, let's have 12th.
So there we go. Going to be interesting to see how this table develops. So what about this Sky Bet Fan Hope survey then, mate?
Well, you can read all about all the other findings of the 2023 Sky Bet Fan Hope Survey. Add your voice in the debate. Share your season predictions, all on the Sky Bet Fan channel. The link will be in the description below. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what all fans think, mate, of because it's like we said with Bournemouth in particular. I do think we're one of them teams where some people think we could be a surprise, some people think they're definitely going. So we'll see.
Next then, it's Arsenal. So Arsenal, mate. I mean, they dropped off, didn't they? They really did drop off. I honestly thought last season they were winning the league when they scored that last-minute Reece Nelson goal against us. I thought, you know what, this is the moment that they'll look back on as the time they decided it. But then when they dropped off a cliff, boy, did they drop. Yeah. And in the end, it was a relative cruise for Manchester City. But they've made some signings.
They have.
Declan Rice, mate, wow.
Yeah, it's an impressive one.
Is it enough to be a game changer?
I don't know, because they've lost Xhaka. I know Xhaka's not as good as Rice, but it is one in, one out. Should add to the quality. I mean, Havertz has come in, which I'm not sure about. I don't think many people are. We'll have to see. I think Timber will be quite good for him. But yeah, it's a weird one, because I remember when we were at a few different bits, and no one at the start of the season was predicting Arsenal to be close. Most people thought Tottenham finished above them. Yeah. They were struggling to make top four. But then, as soon as it got on, I kept saying, I think City will do it. City will still do it. As soon as I thought, actually, I think Arsenal will do it, then it all changed. And when you compete with Man City, Gary Neville said a lot of times they'll romp it in the end, and he was right. But do you want my prediction?
I'll go first.
Go on
first. I'm going second.
I'm going second as well.
Yeah.
I reckon they're going to be the same. Not sure. I still think it will just be. I think they'll be too strong for third, but I don't think they'll have enough for first. I'm going to give where it is, but I think most could predict that. But yeah, I'm going to stick with second, mate. But it'll be interesting because they're in the Champions League now, so see if they have a good run in that.
Another side that's in Europe is Aston Villa, and under Unai Emery, wow, what a run. I remember at some point halfway through the season, we were like, Aston Villa, no way will they be involved in Europe. And then all of a sudden, they crept up, and now they're making statement signings as well. And that guy, wow, has he changed the attitude within the club or what?
Yeah, just a bit, mate. And Diaby, a big signing as well for them. But yeah, I think when he got the job, we were above them. Like, they were relegation candidates. And I mean, that's going to be a hell of a game when we play Villa, because do you remember the start of last season? It was Scott Parker v Steven Gerrard, and now it's going to be Iraola against Emery. So I think there might be a difference in style there in them games. But Villa, really impressive season. They're a team that I think a lot of people are looking at and going could surprise a few. But equally, they are in Europe now. I know the first few rounds they should be able to just put a backup side to the Conference League. I would have thought. I mean, West Ham have just won it, so I think they go far in that, and that might play a part. But I think they'll do okay again, mate. So
right.
Put them in a decent position again.
Okay, I'll go first then. I have put them to finish in 6th.
Ooh, that is strong. I've put them to finish in 8th.
Okay.
Which I still think will be good for them. But my little tip is I think they'll win the Conference League.
Yeah.
I do think they can win that. I think West Ham showed it. No disrespect to West Ham, but if you're a team in the Premier League, you should go to the last stage of that Conference League. It's only really when the teams drop out of Europa or third, really, you should be one of the strongest sides. I think they'll be one of the favourites, and I think they could win that. And that might just mean them drop off a little bit, but 8 for the Conference League, they'll take that.
What about Brentford then? Brentford are a really interesting one, because obviously they're missing their main man for, till January?
Yeah.
Could be a big miss, but I sense that, I did think, could this mean that they're going to be in some kind of relegation battle? But in my mind, I think Thomas Frank's got enough about him, and they're not a one-man team.
They're not. He does a lot, but I think it's hard, isn't it? Because you gauge it and go, you take out his goals and assists, then they could go down. But they're so, it's not like a freak injury. They were planned for this, so they'll be working away without him. And as you say, mate, I think Frank's a clever coach. And last season, to be fair, I thought they could be right in the mix, and they surprised me. And I don't really want to go overboard again, but there will be a drop-off. I think even with Toney, there would have been a drop-off because they had a really good season. But I think they'll be okay. But yeah, I do think they'll decline a little bit, but they'll still be all right.
This makes me think you've gone lower than what I have.
Okay, go on.
I've gone 11th.
Yeah, I've gone lower. I've gone 14th.
Okay.
Not
kind of...
No, I don't think they'll be in a relegation battle.
Okay.
I think between them kind of 10th, 14th, I think it'll be a few points. So I think it'll be close. I just think they will lose a lot of goals. So I think there might be games where they can't unlock teams, but they'll be organised enough and disciplined enough, I think, to not be in any sort of relegation battle. So yeah, I've gone 14th, but you've got 11th. So with a mix up there, but I think there'll only be a few points in it.
Yeah, I expect so. So Brighton, another team that is in Europe, they had an exceptional season. Got to say, under Robert De Zerbi, I think he's an exceptional manager as well. And they seem to produce and find talent that they then go on to sell for lots of money, or manage to keep somehow. And do you think they can sustain a high finish with playing Europa football?
Yeah, well, that's kind of, when I tell you the league position, that's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of there might be a mini drop, but I still think they're a good enough side to be in that top half of the Premier League, for sure, even with Europe. But I do think they could get to the last stages of Europa. I'm not sure if they'll win it. Obviously, Champions League teams drop out, but I think they'll do well. But yeah, that will test their squad. They've already lost McAllister, obviously, to Liverpool. I don't want to go overboard on players they lose, because as you kind of alluded to, mate, they've lost big players before and they all seem to replace them. So I do still think they'll be good. They'll have a good season. But I don't think they'll quite qualify for Europe again.
No, I don't think so either. So much so, I've put them finishing in 9th.
9th? I've got 9th as well, mate. Yeah. Which I think if they get that stage, do well in Europe and come 9th, that's an amazing season for Brighton. We seem like we're on the same wavelength there. So yeah, I'm going for 9th, mate.
Here we go. Anti-football. Tell you what, not anymore.
No.
This Brexit stuff, another Twitter bingo that the Clarets used to love to spread around on Twitter with every single fan that had a go at them for playing Sean Dyche ball and all that kind of stuff. Under Vincent Kompany, they are a different side. Are they going to be good enough, though, to stay in the Premier League?
I think so. I think there's something about them. We saw them in a cup game where they come to our place. They made, I think, just as many changes as we did, because they were going for the title, obviously, and they absolutely murdered us. I think he's a top coach. I think they got good players there. I think even when they went down, they kept a lot of the core. They kept the core players that, just your hard working, 7 out of 10s every week. And I think they'll be absolutely fine. I think they might surprise a few. I think there's always one that come up. You look at Fulham last season, done really well. We're even knocking on Europe for a little bit. There does seem to be one that's surprised, and I think out of the three, I think most people think it. I think Burnley will be absolutely fine. I think they'll surprise a few.
When you say surprise, do you mean stay up or actually... Well, let's find out. Because I've gone Burnley in 17th.
Oh, that's a lot lower than me.
Oh, is it?
I've gone Burnley in 11th.
Really?
I've got 11th. I think that'll be a real surprise.
Really?
Yeah, I think you look how Fulham did when they come up. I think Burnley just as good, well, if not better, Fulham were. So, I think that'll surprise people. And as I say, it's because of when looking, I didn't think going into doing my predictions, Burnley 11th. And then when I started looking at the teams comparing, I thought, I think they're stronger than them. So they ended up being 11th, mate. And I wanted to put us 11th, but I thought, so I've gone for them to finish just above us. But yeah, 11th.
What about Chelsea then under Poch? Pre-season, they've looked sort of pretty impressive.
Yeah.
They got some good players through the door. I think Poch is going to be the one to make it all gel together. But
top manager.
They are a bit of they were certainly Jekyll and Hyde last season. I think they'll be more one of the other. But this I found this difficult to predict, actually.
Yeah, it's tough, but I think the coach makes a difference, and I think Poch is another level. I think Tottenham fans maybe see that now. I'm not saying that they were totally against him. I think Tottenham fans always loved and knew him, how good he was, but they brought in afterwards. They brought in the likes of Mourinho and Conte, and they can't do what he did because getting them to a Champions League final and consistently in the Champions League spots was so impressive. And I think, as you said, the additions, we nearly got Nicholas Jackson, didn't we? And he looks like a hell of a player, and Kunku's going to be a really good player. And I think even some of the younger players they've got, he will get the best out of them. I'm sure of that. They had injuries as well. Reece James, Chilwell, if they come back, they've got good players. I think Mudryk will suddenly be good. I think Poch is the type of manager that get the best out of Sterling. We haven't quite seen that in the Chelsea shirt yet. So I think that's
round. Do you think?
I don't know. Yeah, I think they win a little bit. I think it'll be a good side of the Man U, but I think it made sense. I think it improved Man U, but I think Chelsea have got enough there to cope without him in the way Poch plays. So yeah, I think they'll be strong, mate. But I don't think it'll be too much of a surprise to people that they'll be strong. I think they'll be back.
Okay, so where are they going to finish? Of course, these are early predictions, but I've gone for 5th.
I've gone 4th. And that's close. Yeah, and I reckon we don't know, but I reckon we've done the 2. We've switched 2. And I was very, very close on the 2, but I've got Chelsea just to do it. And I think a big reason for that is you've got to remember Chelsea aren't in Europe.
Yeah.
And I think you look at Arsenal last season, do you know what I mean? Not being that, I know they were in for a little bit, but not being in that Champions League, I think that makes a hell of a difference. Poch having a group there and not have to worry about Europe, and that's why I think they'll just get full.
Interesting. Okay, next then, Crystal Palace, under the stewardship of Roy Hodgson. They've, of course, got our main man from last season, Jefferson Lerma.
Good signing.
But they're also losing players as well. Wilf Sahame, he's gone.
He's gone. Gallup had a weird move, because I thought I could get him going, but I thought he'd either go for a decent... I think there was rumours with a club like Lazio and teams like that. I thought that makes sense, or we go Saudi. Castro seems a bit weird, but they'll miss him. Rumours of Elise, we'll have to wait and see if he goes. Yes, they bought in Lerma, but losing Zaha, they haven't really bought anyone else in. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. Eze's still a class act, but I've always felt they struggled up the top end of the pitch without Zaha for goals. And after the Zaha move, I think they're going to struggle. I really think they're going to struggle. I think Roy will know what a good manager he is. And I always want to respect Roy, and then I always remember how he made me feel as an England manager. Some of my worst moments as an England fan, and then I struggle. I think it's a case where I get why they've given him it after what he did, but I think it could get to October, November, Christmas time, and they get rid, because I think they'll be right in the mud. And that's just personal opinion at the moment.
But I think they're going to struggle. He's always good at, staving off relegation.
Yeah,
I think that's why, in my prediction, I've gone 16th for Crystal Palace.
I've gone 17th.
Okay.
So I think, similar to you, I think they'll just have enough. Yeah. But I do think they'll be in and around it again all season, but they'll just have a bit too much. I look at them, said about Lerma, we know the quality he has. The Corey as well. I think Anderson, if they keep Guay, they got enough for spine there that I think will, and with Roy, they'll keep enough kind of clean sheets, grind stuff out.
That home atmosphere is key as well.
Yeah, big time. But I do think there'll be a drop off. I think they'll struggle a little bit, but yeah, I think they'll be all right.
Everton then, this is their last season at Goodison Park, and they don't want it to be a relegation one. We lost at Goodison on the last game of the season, which meant that they stayed up. Alas, Leeds and Leicester went down. Are they gonna survive again, or are they gonna thrive this season? Well, they've added a certain ex-Bournemouth player to their armoury by the likes of Dan Juma. Oh, now Dan Juma, who was going to Everton last season. He had media photos, and then he went to Spurs, and now he's back. Made some cheeky Twitter jibe. Don't know how well that went down, but look, he's going to need to maybe owe the Everton fans with some decent performances, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, so it's a weird one. I think if there's any Everton fans watching, he's a hell of a player. It's the reason I think it's strange is because when he went to Tottenham, I thought it was strange because I thought, knowing how he is as a player, that won't suit Conte. And then knowing how he is as a player, I don't think that suits Dyche, because he doesn't do anything backwards, but he's a bit luxury, but he's got a bit of magic, Danju magic. But yeah, I think it was a Bournemouth fan actually, sorry I can't remember who it was, but a really good tweet saying that he's got the arrogance of Cristiano Ronaldo with the ability of Andros Townsend, which was brilliant, but he's better than Andros in my opinion, especially now. But it's a weird one with Everton, mate, because on one hand, I look at Southampton, for example, and go, it always felt like with Southampton, you go, they'll just stay up as they always do. And eventually it catches up, as it did last season. So I think, is it going to catch up with Everton? But then on the other hand, I go, Sean Dyche, they won't go down.
But can they go places with Sean Dyche?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, again, they're going to be too strong to go down, but I think they're going to be boring and not have a great season again.
Okay, with that in mind, I've gone for Everton in 14th.
Oh, I've gone Everton in 15th. Oh, very close again, mate.
Close.
So I think, yeah, similar vibes that they'll be fine, but they won't. What's the word? Pull up any trees. I was going to say pull up any trees.
Fulham next. Ooh. Fulham. You know what? This is a really interesting one.
It is.
Marco Silva, has he committed his future to the Codgers now?
It looks like it.
It looks like he might have.
Recording.
Mitrovic, what's going on with him? He could be going.
Yeah, well, he's not really been involved in pre-season because he looks like he's desperate for a move. So that they've just signed Raul Jimenez.
Yes.
Which to me is, because he wouldn't have gone there to be backup.
Paulina's got an injury at the moment as well.
Yeah. So they're looking like they're going, if Jimenez has got, no disrespect to Jimenez, but since his bad injury, if they're thinking he can replace Mitrovic, not a chance in my opinion. It's a weird one because I don't want to underestimate Fulham, but doesn't feel great if Mitrovic goes, does it? But I still think they have a good bit of quality. And if Marco Silva stays, I think that is the key. Top manager.
And this is the season where their Riverside stand is going to be open. 30,000 people in Creighton Cottage. It's going to be a cauldron. And I tell you what, they're going to get behind their boys. I've got a feeling that they've probably got enough.
Oh, definitely. I don't think there might be that bit where you think, oh, well, they get dragged in, but I don't think they will.
I think the Bournemouth will be there and thereabouts with them this season.
I agree.
So much so, I've gone for Fulham in 12th.
I've gone for Fulham in 10th.
So both above Bournemouth. So
Yeah.
both, okay, well, that's fair.
So. Put it this, that's how key I think Marco Silva's thing is, by the way. I think if he were to go, I'm looking at kind of 15th-ish. That's how key I think he is. I do still think, because I was going, without Mitrovic, but then I was going, actually, if they keep Paulinho, and they've still got, they've kept William now, haven't they?
Yeah.
And then they've got a few bits that I think Pereira, I think they've got enough. So, I'm going to go 10th, mate.
Bournemouth's first away game of the season is at Anfield against Liverpool. Last season, it didn't go so well, but we won't talk too much about that. One thing they will have that's new is their brand new Anfield Road stand. They've had a 7,000 capacity addition, so that stand should hopefully be ready by the time we play them. So will it be a louder Anfield? Well, the atmosphere last time wasn't particularly great, but look, they've lost Jordan Henderson. He made a decision that a lot of people frowned at for morality issues more than anything, and having more money than you actually need. But they have got Dominic Szoboszlai, the Hungarian, that's very highly rated. He's
Glad you
like
announced that.
the star in Hungary.
Wow. Second to Milos Kerkez. He looks like a player. It's going to be interesting because they're literally, because Fabinho could leave as well. And him and Henderson, they were talking about their midfield last season. It was a bit aging. And now they're going to have a young, vibrant midfield with McAllister as well.
Yeah.
From Brighton. And there's still some good youngsters. I think I'd love to see in the under-21s tournament. I thought, obviously, we won it. And I think Jones and Harvey Elliott are going to be better. They missed Marley last season, no doubt about that. But I think a lot of it depends on Nunes and Gakpo. Will they... You know what I mean? Have they settled in a bit now? Will Luis Diaz and Jota, will they... I
feel like this is the second year of a 2-year sort of transitional window after the old guard's been shifted on.
Yeah.
And I feel as though this is going to maybe show where they're at for the following season. Maybe. I don't think they're going to be challenging.
They'll be in that mix going for the Champions League spots. I think what will help them is being in Europa and not Champions League. I think they can afford to rotate and still get to the last stages of that. But yeah, I think they'll be stronger than last season. But as you said, mate, I don't think they're quite ready to compete again with the top two.
So will they be good enough for Champions League? I'm saying yes, 4th. Liverpool in 4th place.
I've gone Liverpool in 3rd place, which makes me... I've worked out what we've done with who you've got in 3rd and who I've got in 5th, I think. So,
okay. Interesting.
This is big surprises.
Hashtag teams like Luton.
Oh, yeah.
They're going down. Tin pot. We know. We've heard it. We've seen all those league tables where it's like, we know who the top 10 are going to be, and then like Luton. 20th. So you've seen them, right? We've seen them, Luton fans. We know what it's like.
Give us honestly, Luton fans, thank you, because it's just taken a little bit off. It's like, oh, bloody hell. They're normally just Bournemouth at the bottom, and now it's, when I met a Luton fan the other week, I said, thank you so much for coming into this league and just making us...
Lewis was there.
Just making us feel a little bit less kind of like... Most people just go, Bournemouth and Luton at the bottom. Like,
I love the fact they're in.
I love Luton.
I love the fact they're in.
We all wanted them to come up, weirdly, Bournemouth fans. I think it is that it's not only the size of the ground and stuff, but it's also that when we had minus 17, they were on minus points as well. For both
30 for them, mate.
For both of them sides to be in the Premier League, and even the other side that was on minus points, Rotherham in the Championship.
I'm going to say
it's amazing.
Luton is more of a fairy tale than Bournemouth.
Calm.
No, it is.
Just because
they got relegated to non-league. They got relegated like we didn't. And also, they haven't had this kind of Russian billionaire or whatever Max Dennery was to pump money in. And they've done it in a very organic way, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with that sentiment. I think on the other hand, you could say Luton are historically...
Of course.
I've got a better history than Bournemouth.
Oh, yeah, I agreed, yeah.
So it's probably not a lot in it, but I can see what you said. But yeah, I really hope they do well, and I do actually think... I don't think they're going to be the whipping boys, like we had last season. They're going to match Derby's point track. No chance. I think they've done. It remains to be seen whether their few additions are going to be clever or not enough. But we always had that against us as well. I think they'll surprise people in terms of they'll be right till the end, scrapping, in my opinion. I think they'll get a lot of points at home.
Yeah.
I think the home form will be key. I think it could go right down to the wire for Luton, put it that way.
I reckon we got them in the same position here. I reckon we have. And I think you're right. Now, I don't want to be one of those people that people just watch YouTube and see another... I don't consider myself a pundit. I'm just a football fan. So
I do.
Do I know? I don't know. He's a pundit. And I don't want to be another one of these people that say they're going down. But I've got them in 18th.
18th. Yeah, I think it could literally go down the last few weeks of the season. I think they'll be right in it, mate. So, I think that's fair. I think most people are lower than that, mate. Yeah. Something about it in there. I don't know if it's whether we're Bournemouth fans and we've kind of got that little bit of, oh, go on. Yeah. But I do think they'll surprise people a little bit because of it, but maybe not quite have enough.
How long does this section need to be on Manchester City, Tom?
However long you want it to be, mate. I
mean, look,
they'll stay up.
They have lost some players. But look, it's the pep factor, isn't it? It's the pep factor. And some of the football that I saw towards the end of the season, especially, was dreamy to watch. Absolutely dreamy. Who was it they played in the semi-final of the Champions League? Was it?
Was Real Madrid the semi?
Yeah. I think that home match against Real Madrid was unreal. It was a delight to watch. I loved watching it.
And then the difference now, as I thought in the final sometimes, is they've always had that, and that's still improving the way they play. Obviously now they've got obviously an absolute deadly finisher, but also in the Inter game in the final, when it started getting a little bit tricky, they're a bit more solid. Yeah. We know why. Nathan Ake out. But even Kanji's come in and Diaz has got, and then you got Stones in there and Rodri, and it means they can even grind games out, and you just don't see a weakness. And some of the players they've got, they're like the Harlem Globetrotters, mate. It's just like ridiculous. People forget, though, because they got Haaland, and go, oh, who's the backup if Haaland got injured? It's the Golden Boot winner. It's Alvarez. Like, he's the backup. Looks like Mahrez is going to go, Saudi. And there's still talk about Bernardo. I'm not sure about that. Gundogan is obviously gone, but I think they'll be okay. I think they're going to be, just romp it again, to be honest with you. I think Arsenal will try and keep pace for a little bit, and then they'll get away. So, should we say at the same time?
First. Man City in first. There we go. What about their rivals on the west side of the city, Manchester United? Made a few movements in the transfer market. Mason Mount's one of them.
Yeah, good one.
Eric Ten Hag's got a steeliness about them. There's a resilience about Man United. It's weird, we were saying last season that they didn't really blow any teams away. I mean, they didn't have any real standout results, apart from maybe probably the losses were standout, like they lost to Brentford and Liverpool, etc. But towards the end of the season, they just ground it out without being overly impressive. But that's Ten Hag, isn't it?
It is. I think it will, again, we've said this a few times with a few different teams, but I think if they try to get to that stage of the Champions League, that could affect things. But they ticked along really nicely. I think we played near the end of the season at home, and they scored an early goal, but they just saw it out really comfortably. Yeah. I think, obviously, at time recording they haven't, but it would depend on the calibre of striker that I think they could potentially bring in. That'll make a difference. Like, they suddenly get Kane, for example. I don't think it'll happen. Or I think his name's Højlund, the Danish striker who's supposed to be quite talented. So, yeah, that could change things. I think the goalkeeper's going to help them a lot, because I think De Gea wasn't the type of goalkeeper that Ten Hag wanted. So, yeah, I think they'll be good again, but I think other teams are going to be strong. I think I know where you've put them by the way we've looked at other teams, and I think you know where I've put them, so go on.
I've gone for Manchester United finishing in third.
Yes, and I've got Manchester United finishing in fifth.
Okay.
I think they'll just miss out. I think they'll just miss out because I think Chelsea will be that bit stronger, and Liverpool as well. So I think it'll be close. I think it'll be Liverpool, Chelsea and United. I think it's going to be a real battle, 2 out of 3 getting in Champions League, and I think United will just miss out.
Eddie Howe's Blackwater Army. Right, let's talk about Newcastle United in the Champions League this season, which is a factor that I've had in the back of my head throughout this. Yeah. I don't think, I think already it's impossible for them to emulate, based on my predictions, the finish that they had last season. And it's the squad depth. I know that they've signed Toney, etc., and Harvey Barnes, etc., in the mix, but I can see this being a really interesting season, and one where it's going to be not as fairy tale for Newcastle fans. I think they'll have some amazing European nights out, I'm certain. However, squad depth is going to be needed, and I think they might come unstuck in a few more games than they did this season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I still think they've got quality, and we all know how good the coaching setup is there because we've seen it firsthand. And I think they'll still have a really successful season, but I don't think they'll get the Champions League spots again. Exactly. I think they could surprise teams in Europe, and I think don't get me wrong, I don't think they'll win the Champions League. They almost might be clever, they wouldn't do this, but to come third in the group, because then they could win the Europa, in my opinion. But I actually think obviously we don't know the groups like that, but it wouldn't shock me if they got to like quarters of the Champions League, like genuinely. But squad down, I saw them no disrespect to any of these players, but I saw them in pre-season the other night, and looking at the team when they're resting a few, and you go, it's still Lascelles, Paul Dummett started. Yeah. And you look at some of them players and go...
And you know that Eddie Howe can bring on players, but to that...
Yeah. I just think in a few games that might catch up with them. I still think they'll have a bloody good season, by the way. But that's why we haven't spoke about them in these Champions League mix. But I do still think they'll get into the European places.
Okay, that's what I said as well. Just about. I said that Newcastle United will finish in 7th.
I've said that Newcastle will finish in 6th.
Okay, there we go.
Right, so I know what team it is that we've worked it out.
Okay, he's worked it out already. Right, let's go to Nottingham Forest then. Really interesting. What have they done over the summer?
Not a lot.
No, that's what I was thinking. Not loads.
3-second silence for Sam Surridge, who is no longer a Premier League player. He's going to the MLS by the looks of it.
Weird. That's just...
But they're getting $5 million, I think. I don't know who is this, like, the hype of Sam Surridge. Anyway, I feel like did they sign, they've still got Danilo in there. I think Gibbs White is one that I really rate in keeping hold of him. Brilliant in the under-21s tournament. Brennan Johnson's still there. So they can still do a few bits, man. I do still think they obviously had a bloated squad, but they had some quality in there.
Yeah.
I think, again, they will be similar. They'll be flirting with it,
right,
all the way till the latter stages, but have a little bit too much.
That's what I've said. So much so, I've gone for Nottingham Forest in 15th.
I've gone for Nottingham Forest in 16th.
Okay. This is close.
It is very close.
Relatively close.
We got the same bottom three. We could do,
Yeah.
We could do.
Right, on to Sheffield United then. Newly promoted, of course, finished second in the Championship this season. I think they'll find themselves, with most pundits, probably in and around, more in than around that bottom three.
I think them and Luton are going to be the teams that are going to be the most predicted to be the bottom two. Obviously, we've gone against that grain with our Luton prediction coming 18th. But I actually think they'll struggle more than Luton.
I do as well.
I don't know what that is. I don't feel like they'll have enough. I really don't. I'm trying to pinpoint why I think that is. I think Burnley, are just a level above the other two in terms of promoted teams, that is. And Luton, I feel, will have that kind of backs to the wall, get enough wins at home. And I think Sheffield United are in that horrible position where I don't think they've quite got either. I don't think they'll have enough goals in the team. I think they'll try and grind things out, but I think they're really going to struggle, personally, mate.
Home performances are going to be absolutely key core on this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember when they first got promoted, when we were relatively stable in the Premier League in our fifth Premier League season, and
so they drew Europe, didn't they?
They drew.
Didn't they nearly get Europe?
Yeah, they nearly did. And they drew with us 1-1. It was Billy Sharp with a last
first minute season.
Yeah, last minute goal then at their place. I can't remember what I think. Yes,
they did. Mousse assist. It was, I think, what was it called? There was a storm going on that.
Oh yeah, Kiana or something.
I was there. It was absolute chaos.
No, I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know what.
But
Mousse, he set up a goal.
Is there going to be a storm brewing at Bramall Lane this season? Look, I'm telling you that I think they'll finish bottom of the pile, 20th.
I've done the same. 20th. Yeah. It wouldn't shock me if they don't, but I just think looking at all the squads at this current moment of time, I think they will be bottom.
Sorry. Right. Let's move on. Spurs, interesting one with Postio.
I ain't got a Postecoglou. That's how you pronounce that, yeah.
Look,
Big Ange.
These are early. This is an early prediction, so things might change in the transfer market.
Yeah, got over a month yet. Yeah, and that's going to be key for them with the Harry Kane saga, of course. At the moment, he's still there.
They got James Maddison.
Very good signing for him. I think he'll be. You remember how I used to always think that Eriksen pulled him out of a lot of trouble as well and helped Kane. They lost him. I don't think they really replaced him properly. And obviously they had Ali as well. And I think Maddison's going to fit in there really, really nicely.
One thing I would say was that Son, I think last season had quite a
He can't be
season,
mad again.
But no, and he was carrying some kind of injury for large parts of it again. So if he gets that sorted, then hopefully him and whoever will be bagging the goals in and making them more competitive. But it's going to be really interesting because whilst the manager did well in Scotland for Celtic, this is a different kettle of fish. The Premier League.
It is. I think.
Will it go?
I think they'll have a different style of football which they'll enjoy regardless. A bit similar to ourselves, obviously different kind of levels there, but in terms of they've had Mourinho, Conte, Nuno, it was dull. I think he'll get and play and it'll be exciting, but I think they'll ship a few. I think they'll be quite end-to-end in games. I think we've gone a place apart by what I think we've done. What have you done?
I've gone for Spurs finishing in 8th place.
Oh,
8th.
I didn't expect that.
8th.
I didn't expect that. I'm just checking. I've got Tottenham in 7th.
Okay, so place apart. Yeah.
Place apart. I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know what you've done now. I think. God, it's hard work. Yeah.
So there we go. That's right. Let's go on to West Ham United. Really interesting one. I think obviously last season with their incredible win in the Conference League, it took a lot of kind of resources out of their Premier League squad at times, and they struggled in the Premier League. Will it happen again though? Don't know. Look, they've got a lot of money for Declan Rice. It just depends how they spend that money, which players they get through the door, of course. And my eyes are going to be peeled at the signings that they could get. There've been like murmurings of like James Ward-Prowse, stuff like that. But this is why it's so difficult to predict. But I've gone bold with this one. But your thoughts on West Ham? Can they be as poor in the Premier League as they were last season? Because they were pretty poor.
They were, and I think people forget that they are still in Europe because they won the Conference League. So, and that affected them last season.
Yeah.
And I think at the time of recording, I believe they're the only team that haven't signed a player. But
that will change.
They have been waiting for that Rice money, I assume, and obviously that will change. So that makes it harder. I worry from a little bit. I think my prediction at first I thought, could they get Rice sucked into it? But because Rice is that key, I think Bowen's dropped off a little bit. And then I look at them and go, is Antonio going to start dipping as well now? Is Ings going to stay fit? Not sure they'll be great, but I think they'll be fine. Is basically what
I've got a feeling that this is the club where we've got the biggest difference. We've been 1 or 2 places apart so far.
Where have you put them?
I've put West Ham in 10th place.
We're a few off. Yeah, I've put West Ham in 13th place. We're a few off, but I think it wouldn't shock me if there's a few points in that between 10th and 13th anyway. But they're so bad. I think with last year they got too much, but I don't think they'll put up any trees again.
So you can probably work out where both of us have placed our
same bottom
final team. Yeah. Wolverhampton Wanderers. Look, why do we both think they're going to struggle this season?
Weird, isn't it? Because I thought that was a bit of a surprise, but we both thought that.
Yeah, they have lost players, of course.
Yeah, Neves is massive.
Yeah.
Ruben Neves has been their glue, if you like, so losing him's key.
Who's going to get Alex Scott? Is he going to be them?
That's true.
Is he going to be Bournemouth?
West Ham could come in as well, I think, Rice money. So, that'd be interesting. But I don't know what it is about I feel like there's been a very slow, because when they first come up to Premier League, everyone forgot how Nuno was brilliant and they got into Europe. Yeah. But there's been this slow, gradual decline where last season they looked like they could even go at one point. Yeah. They ended up having far too much. I just think it might have caught up with them.
Yeah.
I just think it might have caught up with them. I think Neves was that good that I think they don't realise how much they'll miss him. I think Jimenez is going. I just really think they're going to struggle, mate. So, I've put them in 19th, same as you.
Yeah, 19th place then. Right, so let's have a look at these tables side by side then. And this is, as you can see it on screen, this is how...
Quite close.
They're not that far apart, really, are they?
No, I think there's that... It's interesting. I've gone Newcastle, Tottenham, Villa. You've gone Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham. Like, it's all a little bit mixed up. So I'm trying to think. I think the one that's the key difference is Burnley.
Yeah.
You've got them just stay up, whereas I've got them in 11th. But Yeah, we're pretty similar there, mate, which I'm not sure is a good thing or not.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, not sure.
thought-
But the interesting thing is, I think the last season, we done it with Harry Redknapp, actually, didn't we?
Yes, we did, yeah.
And the one that we got really wrong was we both thought Brentford could go.
Yeah.
Didn't we? And they done really well. So there might be... I'm trying to look at it now and go, what one could I get really wrong? I guess it could be a Wolves.
Yeah.
Like, they could be top 10 easily if they could just surprise everyone. But I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Early predictions.
Look, these are early. So what we're going to do, we're going to do one more of these, and that's going to happen after the transfer window is closed. We appreciate that some games will have been started to have been played by then, which is fine. But yeah, we're going to do it once and once only, and then we'll probably have a bit of a gauge, because then for at least 3 months, September, October, no, 4 months, there'll be games before anyone can sign anyone else at the January transfer window, of course. So that'll be really interesting to see. What are your predictions? Put your tables in the comments below. We would love to know. Wow,
it's
I'm
been
intrigued.
I am, mate, and it'll be really interesting to see how much we change, because it'll all depend on signings. Because, for example, we just mentioned Wolves there. They go and sign a striker that I believe will get him 20, 25 goals. That changes everything. So, that'll be interesting. But at this moment in time, that's what I'm going with, mate. But I'd take it now, because I've put us on 12.
There you go. Right, thanks for watching. If you're a Premier League fan and you're brand new to the channel, then we would suggest you do a couple of things. One of which involves one of these.
Yeah. Big like, please. Really appreciate that. More people get to see it, and then more people do the thing that you're about to do or have already done, and that's click the big fat subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Click the little bell as well, and then it'll let you know when our videos are out.
This season we'll be doing match day vlogs when we come to your club, and there's going to be raw entertainment there, but also in the return fixture as well. It's interesting to see what your away fans are like. We're going to be doing an away day review show. Plus, I'm sure your team may be mentioned on the Premier League show View from the South that we've got coming up this season too. We've got so much stuff on the way. And yeah, if you give us a subscribe, we truly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. On the cherries.
Bye. Oh, now we're going to have Sheffield United fans hating us. It's a new team to hate us, isn't it?
Yeah.